Hello and happy Thursday to each and every one of you. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Engineer Your Energy, a weekly lunch and learn where we talk about all things stress management, how that relates to your feelings of tiredness, and what you can do to mitigate stress in your own life and really become a champion of your own stress. My name is Caroline Milton. I am the owner of Milton Coaching Collective. We provide one-on-one and corporate coaching services to help you mitigate burnout in your own life or on your teams, because we have a vision for a future that is more inclusive, that offers better representation across the board, but especially in the realms of STEM. This week, we're talking about inclusion and why this is so important as we talk about our businesses. It's the beginning of June. If you live in the US, then you likely have seen messaging over the past couple of days from organizations in support of Pride Month. June is National Pride Month, and we are just exiting out of AAPI Heritage Month. We also have Women's History Month. We have Black History Month. We have months that celebrate different groups of people. And oftentimes, organizations' marketing will be around celebration of those groups of people. And this is important. It's important to see yourself reflected in the organizations that you support and the products that you buy, but it's also important to see yourself reflected in the places where you work, right? And that's what I want to focus on today. Now, at myself, I do not do trainings or coaching in diversity and inclusion. It's not my lane. However, we cannot talk about burnout prevention without also talking about diversity and inclusion. And here's why. The three main components of burnout prevention within the workplace are autonomy, competence, and belonging. Number three, belonging. So what that means is for employees to feel like they're respected in their work, that they want to continue to contribute to the work and the workplace, they need to feel a sense of autonomy. Now, autonomy is not granted on day one of your new role. It is earned over time. It comes with trust, right? You have to display your ability to be trusted, and the organization also needs to be able to provide you with the resources that you need to be able to work autonomously. Autonomously does not mean working in isolation. In fact, individuals who are granted more autonomy with the way they work are proven to be more collaborative than those who are micromanaged. So autonomy is key. Competence is the next critical component. So being respected for your ideas and your contributions, being recognized as a subject matter expert, knowing that what you bring to the table is important. Even when the ideas that you present are not pursued, that you are still acknowledged in the room. So oftentimes marginalized groups will talk about a lack of being recognized for their competency. We hear this time and time again, where you see two resumes that read exactly the same, but if one resume has a female sounding name or an ethnic sounding name, that perhaps the same level of respect and competency would not be given as it would to perhaps a very European male sounding name. So being recognized for your competence is another critical component of burnout prevention. And then third and final is belonging. Now we're talking about burnout a lot. We're talking about high prevalence of burnout. And I do hear some pushback on burnout not being a real thing, burnout being a made up phenomenon. Why is burnout now being talked about suddenly? And the truth is, burnout has always been around. There are references to extreme tiredness, even in biblical text, but burnout is nothing new. Every generation has their own experiences of burnout. We're seeing more and more burnout within the workplace. And here's why. As the workplace continues to diversify, which it needs to continue to diversify, the more diverse our teams are, the better reach we have to our consumers, our customers, our clients. So we need to be working towards better diversity in our teams. But when we hire more diverse teams without really acknowledging and working against how we're including and providing a sense of belonging, so addressing our biases within our workplace, then we're not providing that critical component of burnout prevention that is belonging. So essentially just hiring an employee because you're seeking to improve your diversity of your team without addressing the components of your culture that might lead that individual or those groups of people to not feel included, to not feel as though they belong, that can lead to high turnover, high rates of turnover, low engagement from your employees, which means poor business results. High performing teams laud their sense of belonging. They feel as though their ideas, their ways of working, their working styles and strengths are all recognized and appreciated within their organization. So again, I'm not an expert on diversity and inclusion. And in fact, when we talk about these components, I always refer folks to those who are doing the hard work in this space. That's who you need to be addressing when you're talking about diversity and inclusion. One individual that I highly recommend is Michelle Silverthorne. She does a lot of work on diversity inclusion in the workplace, and her book, Authentic Diversity, is a phenomenal read. So we need to be really digging into how we're creating inclusion within our teams, how we're providing a sense of belonging within our teams. How do women feel supported? How does the LGBTQIA plus community feel supported? How does our AAPI community feel supported? How does our Black community feel supported? As we continue to grow and grow and grow and become more diverse, our teams will shift. Our approach to inclusion and belonging will shift, and we need to be ready for that change. We need to be appreciative of that change and what it can provide for the long-term success and longevity of our business. So that is it for this week's episode of Engineer Your Energy. I wanted to make a quick announcement as we depart for the week that I will be hosting a masterclass in the month of July. The title of this masterclass is The Antidote to Burnout. We're going to be talking about the 3 pillars of burnout prevention and why we're not doing a great job of talking about all 3. So these are the 3 things that you really need to be doing on a consistent basis to ensure that the stress of your day, the stressors of your day are not mounting to a point where you're hitting that state of burnout. If you're on the verge of burnout, if you're in the depths of burnout, this is going to be a very important conversation for you to be a part of. I encourage you to register. You can go to miltoncc.com. And at the bottom, you'll see a banner to register for that masterclass. So I'd love to have you in there. I'll also include a link in the comments for you to register. Even if you're not on the verge of burnout, but you want to make sure that you never get there, this masterclass is going to be a phenomenal resource for you as well. Hope to see you there. We'll see you 2 weeks from now. Next week, I'm going to be on vacation. So we'll not see you next Thursday, but will the following Thursday for our next episode of Engineer Your Energy. Thanks for being with me. I'm Caroline Milton.